Well, hey there, welcome to Rookie Preacher. This is the place for you if you're a pastor who wants to preach and lead better. I'd love to say thank you for checking out this video by sending you something for free. If you go to rookiepreacher.com/subscribe, you can get access to our full resource library where we've got things like a free sermon evaluation worksheet, a free sermon notes template, 56 weeks of preaching topics, and much, much more. Just go to rookiepreacher.com/subscribe and get your free resources there. In this video, we're going to be talking about some maybe terrible advice that you've been following in your preaching. And it goes like this. In your sermons, never share an illustration where you are the hero or where you did something right. Only share illustrations where you mess up, like where you failed. And here's why. Because your failures connect with your hearers. And that's true. That's true. In fact, I think it's good that if you are preaching and you share a personal illustration, if it's something that's self-deprecating, first of all, that's funny. And second of all, like, it will connect with the people, right? Because the reality is we're just like Paul. You know, he said in the book of Romans where he's like, hey, the things I want to do, that's the stuff I don't do. The stuff I do want to do, I don't do that. It's the do-do passage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the do-do passage. People connect when we share our failures, because the reality is we're all sinners. Us as pastors, you know this, you're a pastor, I'm a pastor, we have failures. We have sin that is still in our life that we still wrestle with on a daily basis. We still have the reality of living in a broken world, and we're still stained by that fact. And that's true. We should be willing to share our failures. For many preachers out there still today, you refuse to share moments and times when you have a failure, and that is a failure in preaching authentically. But at the same time, I think if you only do that, if you only share your failures, you're making a grave mistake in your preaching. Because while your failures connect with your hearers, your victories challenge your hearers. And I don't know about you, but I want to lead a church that is growing, that is not just surface level, not just shallow, but is growing in their walk with God. And I can defend this, that you shouldn't just share your failures, but you should share your victories. I can defend this with the Bible. I'm just saying, I know, Brandon, what are you doing? Bringing the Bible into this? Like, this is talking about preaching strategy. It talks about it. So if you have a Bible, just pause this, go get it. 1 Timothy chapter 4 is where I want to just read to you a little bit from there and just show you that Paul would tell Timothy this very thing as well. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 11, this is what it says. Command and teach these things. Don't let anyone despise your youth, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Until I come, give your attention to public reading, exhortation, and teaching. Do not neglect the gift that is in you. It was given to you through prophecy with the laying on of hands by the council of elders. Practice these things. What things? To set an example in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. To use your gift. Why? Practice these things, be committed to them so that your progress may be evident to all. Pay close attention to your life and your teaching. Persevere in these things, for in doing this, you will save both yourself and your hearers. Imagine the scene, right? An unchurched person who knows nothing about Jesus comes into your church, and they start hearing you preach, and you're sharing your life. You're just opening your heart. You have an illustration where you talk about how you are really struggling with this thing that you're talking about, whatever topic or whatever passage. And you talk about that for like 20 minutes. You're basically telling them how you're just as much of a sinner as everyone else in the room. And that's true, right? But you never talk about how God changed your life. But then at the end, right, like you talk about the gospel, the hope that people can have through Jesus and the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. And they hear you talk about that. But then there's a disconnect. Because they just heard you say how your life is no different than theirs, and yet their life can be changed because of Jesus. And apparently you, as the preacher, have had that life change happen in your life. You see the disconnect. There's a disconnect. So what if we were willing to be authentic in our preaching, in that we share both our failures and our victories, so that we can point people to the cross to the Holy Spirit's work in our life, right? Because the Holy Spirit wants to bring about the image of Jesus in our lives. And so if we believe that, if the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is in us, then why wouldn't we preach that way? Why wouldn't we show people that, hey, the Holy Spirit is at work and He's changing me too. I used to be this way. Now I am this way. Not because I'm the hero of the story. And don't get this twisted. When you share your victories, you are not pointing people to yourself. You're pointing people to God. And that needs to be the truth. That needs to be the reality that we preach with. We have to show people our progress. We have to be willing to be sanctified and own our growth in the Holy Spirit, because God is at work in our lives, and we need our people to know that, because we want them to experience that very same thing, right? And so, yes, share your failures, but don't stop there. Share your victories too. I'm curious, have you experienced that kind of advice in your ministry? Have you heard that? Have you followed it at times? I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and maybe this changed your perspective. I'd love to know. Just leave a comment. And if this video has been helpful, leave a like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video. We're going to be doing lots more videos on this Rookie Preacher YouTube channel here in the future. So again, and as well, like, go and get your free resources at rookiepreacher.com/subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.